What up, everybody? You're now tuned into the true definition of a sports fanatic. I'm your host, Brendan Lampley. We're back again here today with another show. I got my buddy, Mr. Reid, here back with me today. We're going to talk some Jaguars football. By the time you see, we're going to talk about the Derek Chauvin verdict. Mac Jones supposedly going third overall to San Francisco. I'm not buying that, Mr. John. I'm not buying that at all. Also, James Harden and Kawhi Leonard are facing injuries right now. It seems to be James Harden, that hammy, man. That's for a basketball player, that's rough. So, they say they back at square one. They sitting them out, and then Kawhi Leonard got the foot injury. So, monitoring those two going into the playoffs. But, who knows? I'm pretty sure they won't see the basketball courts much before the playoffs start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think the Nets will win without them. They sure looked good last night.
Man, they got some horses, man. That kid, Shamit, oh my goodness.
Well, yeah, they put it to my old Pelicans. We can't close out games, man. It just seemed like the same chapter, the same story with that franchise.
Man, yeah. I know the feeling. I know the feeling.
So you watch the Magic?
Shoot, watch the Magic. I watch the Jags. I mean, you name it. It is what it is.
Man, I tried to do that for about the first 2 weeks when I came back to Florida. It's hard rooting for the Magic, man. They gotta get some more stars, man.
Oh yeah.
The few stars that they had during the trade deadline.
Yeah, man. So today, gonna get into this. Our initial topic. Talking about the Derek Chauvin verdict, and that came down yesterday, and across all social media, from athletes to entertainers to politicians, they hailed it, and they praised it. But I'm going to be honest with you, Mr. Reid, I'm not praising anything because this is something that you were supposed to do. You were supposed to get this right. And the fact that it was in the balance, the fact that it was unknown what the verdict was going to be, and people were afraid that justice wouldn't be served, is a problem in itself. So I don't give people credit for doing things that they should have done.
Yeah, and I agree with that. It's just so hard. It's been a hard year, to sit there and watch the video and so many things in this country where, you see more signs of the same thing that happened to George Floyd, But I'll say this about the trial. I really thought that the prosecution was they were very prepared. And normally you don't find that a prosecution team will hire outside lawyers. They did that. State of Minnesota hired outside prosecutors to, really let justice take its course, man. I mean, obviously the video was a deciding factor in that trial, and it should have been, But
yeah,
I don't know. I just feel there's so much more to go in our country, and every man's life should be valued, no matter what. I watched that trial in between writing stories. And the history of trials like that, you try to portray the person that has nothing to do with what happened, like they try to portray George having having a drug addiction, which he did, and all of I just hate to see portrayals and taken away from what the real truth of the matter was, which I'm glad that this jury really put all that aside and just didn't have to ask a question, didn't have to take a week or 2 weeks to come up with a determination that he was guilty. And the most powerful moment yesterday was when those policemen came into the courtroom and he had his hands on his back and they escorted him out with handcuffs. I thought that was one of the most powerful pictures of the day because
Yep.
to me, I mean, all Americans, particularly us Black Americans, man, we gotta feel like we in a country where we protected by the law. And I'll say this: from watching that video and from all the from start to finish, from watching that video, because obviously we weren't there, but I think this country, as far as reforming police and things like that, I think that we have to come to a point in America where if the police is in a situation and it's basically misdemeanor. I mean, we're talking about a $20 counterfeit bill that who knows? He probably didn't even. I mean, how many hands did that probably pass through? And then we talking
Right.
about 2 weeks ago, a 20-year-old kid get shot by mistake, but stopped because of expired tags. I lost my wallet last month, and I went to DMV in the Tampa area, and they told I went online. I went to DMV, and basically I won't get my license replacement in 2 months because of the backlog. It's nothing that you can do about the circumstances like that. That's just the way it is doing what's going on right now. We're in the middle of a pandemic. But that's besides the point. I'm just saying that I just think that in order for police to do their jobs, and we feel as citizens of the United States, we have to come to a point, man, where if it don't fit the crime, I don't think you need six police officers to stop someone for a $20 bill or knock on the glass window of the car with a gun because of a traffic violation or speeding 5 miles over the speed limit. And I just think we got to come to some type of where every state, every police department, every city falls under the same rules, man. I think that's a big problem that you could go to Arkansas or you can go to Florida or you can go to Louisiana and there'd be different type of police policies in all three different places.
Yeah.
And I think LeBron James had the most. I mean, I read his tweet and his response, and he simply said it in one word: accountability. That's what I said was yesterday, not justice. I mean, that family would never be 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 back to what they were. I mean, Mr. Floyd is never going to come back. So it's not a victory,
Yeah.
but it is accountability. Everybody have to be accountable to their actions. And it's been so many years and so many decades. I mean, my father, your father, their father back. It's just been this cycle of system where even when police has been wrong, they haven't been accountable for the wrong action. And who knows? We can't look at a crystal ball and say this is the start of a change. But believe me, but back in '92, I watched that Rodney King video, and that was tough. It's
Yeah.
still tough to see that, and to see things going on right now. So I hope it's the start of that. That every man's life is of value. We don't look down on somebody because they might have a drug addiction, or we look down on someone because they're not making 70,000 a year, or we look down on someone because they got a sign standing up on the corner asking for money. We got to treat people with respect, and we got to treat people like everyone matters, and particularly to police department. So I, I have to say that yesterday was a good day, but it's
Yeah.
many more days ahead.
Yeah, man. That little kid. Man, I'm getting some feedback because every time I talk, I can hear me in the thing. Okay, I don't hear it no more now. I don't know what that's about. But that kid, that 20-year-old kid that got killed, man, they said they pulled him over because the whatever was hanging from his rearview mirror was obstructing the view. I've never heard that before. So they pulled him over for a bogus reason to start off with, and I was like, that's ridiculous, man. So now kid isn't here because they pulled him over for false reasons. So, and then they say, oh, then one of the justifications is, oh, his tags were expired, but that was not the initial pullover. It wasn't. That's documented. That's not the initial pullover. So I mean, yesterday was a step in the right direction. I mean, we talked about off camera how certain people, if you don't have anything good to say about the situation, then don't say anything at all. Like Brett Favre and what he said, man, like there's no need to say those things. Like you don't think that he meant to kill George Floyd, but it was uncalled for and he shouldn't have done it. But you don't think that was his intent. It doesn't matter the intent. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm pretty sure you didn't intend to get addicted to painkillers, but you did. I mean, did you intend to send your junk to the reporter with the Jets? Did you I just seen this story that I had heard nothing about with Brett Favre, where he's paying back $1 million for speaking engagements that he got paid for that he never showed up to. And it's a story. They say I seen the guy he was talking about. He said the story came and went. He said it's the biggest sports story that nobody's talking about. And he dropped this in 2020 in May. And he was saying how in Mississippi, they built a volleyball stadium and did some research for concussions, spent millions of dollars, and they were paying using that state money to pay, I guess, him for speaking engagements, and he never showed up to the speaking engagements. So they did an audit and found out that this money was spent on him, and he never went to the speaking engagement. So now he paid back $500,000 or $400,000, and he's paying $600,000 in installments. So, and I'm like, Brett, dude, for somebody whose house is incredibly dirty, you gotta stop talking, man.
And then you know what he said about intent. I mean, come on, man. I mean, I don't have exactly what the rules were for the jury that was given by the judge, but I believe it was said that even if it if it the thing about intent that he didn't mean to do it, I don't think they even judged that on his innocence or guiltiness. They judged on the fact that it was over excessive. He went beyond what should have been done, and he broke every rule as a police officer. And he didn't administer any aid, and actually he didn't allow um, help when help came. He still didn't get off. He had to be asked to get off of them. And like I said, I watched that trial, and they all of their chain of command, from the training officer to the rules of being an officer with the Minneapolis Police Department. He didn't follow any. That's none of their procedures. What he did, and for Brett Favre to even say something like that, I mean, this country has to heal. You don't. It's hard for the country to heal when you just see erroneous statements that doesn't have any. Why would you even say that? I mean, come on. I mean, you don't have to be in favor or anything, but just you know, he was guilty of three charges: two murders, second degree and third degree. No more need to be said. I mean,
That's it.
it would be like anyone. He's guilty of murder. I mean,
Correct.
I don't think you can defend him, which I think that's what he's trying to do. So,
Yeah.
it's just terrible to even hear statements like that from a guy who was a great quarterback, got a great following, and just don't know how to say what needs to be said in that moment. Give that family some healing, allow them to put their minds at ease, and allow them to have their day. I mean, that's what it should have been for everyone. Just allow that family to have some healing, understand what they've gone through over the past year, because I really feel that family is a good family, and I don't think anyone in this country, everyone got a right to say what they want to say. We do have freedom of speech, but come on. I mean,
and then to the cherry on top of his statement is him saying that he's not a racist. Because he called flack for the whole thing with talking about keeping politics out of sports, and people were on him about that. And I love what Adrian Amos said. Adrian Amos said, "There's no politics on 3rd and 3." So, yeah. But then for him to follow it up with, I'm not a racist, it's not a good look. I mean, people, whoever sees this, watching this, and you're not a person of color, you're a white person, and if you're not a black person, period, like just saying I am not a racist when it's regarding black people, like that's people of color, period. So you don't have to say that. You don't have to tell me and convince me that you're not a racist. Show me. Don't tell me about it. Just show me.
Yeah. Well, just understand, be more compassionate and considerate of what the circumstances is. If you watch Fox News in different places, and it's like, it's always a negative thought, that doesn't deserve to be,
Yeah, they call them the evil empire for a reason.
I don't know. I mean, that's the world we live in, though, man.
Yeah, man. Well, rest in peace to George Floyd. I hope his family, find some kind of comfort in the verdict from yesterday, and they're able to move forward. This doesn't bring George back. The money, the settlements, that doesn't bring George back. But they can't keep his memory alive, and remember fonder times and the times they had with him, and help guide his daughter. Because she's gonna really, really miss having him in her life.
I like to add this. Urban Meyer had his news conference, the pre-draft news conference. Obviously, that question was asked to him, and he said in short words, but said that the jury got it right. So
that's it.
He said that video will be with us for a long, long time, and I agree with him on that.
Yeah, well, that's a perfect segue, sir, because that's what we're about to get into. So let's talk some of that Jaguars football and some of the conference call they had today, and some of the topics that they brought up.
Well, they're trying to. I'll say this: franchises are always nervous at this point of the year. It's the draft. They never want to give their hand. They don't want to show their hand, rather. So Trent Baalke had the nerve today to say that they haven't made up their mind, or they haven't made the decision yet to draft Trevor Lawrence at number 1. Do you believe that?
No.
So they got to talk to the owner, and then they'll have a final decision made by Friday.
Man, all what that is, man. They're gonna go on his yacht. They're gonna smoke a few stogies. They're gonna drink a few drinks. They're gonna chat it up, and they're like, "I can't wait to get Trevor," and that's gonna be the end of the conversation. There's nothing else to discuss. I mean, you're not drafting Zach Wilson. You're not drafting Justin Fields, and you're not drafting Mac Jones. You're not drafting Trey Lance. So let's cut it out, and they're taking Trevor Lawrence. And let's say some outside shot that at the last moment that they decide, or they've been waffling over whether they draft Trevor or say a Zach Wilson, who a lot of draft pundits have been ranking number one, which is so. We're not gonna get into that, man. But let's say that that's the case, and they pull the wool over our eyes, and they say, "Hey, we taking Zach Wilson." Okay, well, even if you do take Zach Wilson, I believe that you've done your due diligence and you felt like Zach Wilson was the best option. Now, I will not agree with them taking him, but if they do happen to take him, then okay, Urban, the own Shad Khan, Trent Baalke, they feel like this is the best choice for the franchise. Roll the dice and let's go.
Yeah, that's probably why they said that today, Brandon, because they want to pass the buck. They want the public to know, hey, if we don't draft Trevor Lawrence, it wasn't us.
Leave a little buffer.
Yeah, we had to speak to the owner on Friday, and that's why we selected whoever, which, any Jaguar fan don't have to worry about that, because let me tell you something. They've been on Zoom calls with Trevor Lawrence. 2 months ago, about a month ago, Urban Meyer basically said that we're taking him. And 5 minutes after Trent Baalke today said that, oh, well, we haven't made a decision. And then the next, about 3 minutes later, the question was asked, well, how would you rate him? I mean, what is your rating of Trevor Lawrence? He said he checks all the boxes. There's nothing negative in our rating, anything about what he does. I mean, he's got the perfect score rating on our draft board. So come on, man. You can't beat Chris Sims, I mean, I understand why Chris Sims still like talking about that Zach Wilson should be number one. I mean, come on, this guy's been the number one quarterback for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
The last 3 years, to be honest. Even, some people say he could have left out of his senior year in high school and could have started for like 29 of the 32 teams.
Yeah.
And I ain't trying to pull shit. I mean, this kid he does everything great, man. You don't go 34-2 at any major Division I school and have flaws, Yeah. If they put the talent around them, open up the offense, get some speed on the field, and allow this guy to protect him and allow him to throw the football, just throw it. I mean, I know I know they got James Robinson, but this team, in order for them to be successful with a quarterback like Trevor Lawrence, you got to put the points in the end zone, This kid can throw the ball 70, 65-yard spirals, accurate, on the run, and he's mobile,
Yeah.
And Jacksonville has not had, it's never had a homegrown franchise quarterback before. We did have Mark Brunell and things like that, but, it's nothing me to be sold about this guy. He's good.
Yeah.
They just got to protect him.
They say, Cha-Cha say they talking crazy, saying he could have started for 29, 32 teams. Yeah, they say that stuff in jest, Cha-Cha. I get it. Like literally as an 18-year-old kid, of course. But that's just a testament to his talent, man, because like you said, he checks all the boxes. He does everything well. Look, like quarterback gurus, quarterback coaches, all those guys, they say it's two names. When you hear two names and the quarterbacks compared to these two names, he's basically the quintessential quarterback. He's the prototype, and that's Vinny Testaverde and John Elway. Anytime they bring up those two names when it comes to a prospect, that prospect is good. They did the same thing with Andrew Luck. They brought up Vinny Testaverde and they brought up John Elway. The kid has it, man. He has it. And he's mobile. Dude, I promise you, his run against Ohio State in that playoff game, I'd have seen it 30 million times, man, because it's amazing to me. Yeah, for him to juke the safety at 6'6", 220, and then outrun the linebacker to the end zone, man, it's absolutely insane. Like, how do you compete with a guy who has all the tools in the tool bag when it comes to his throwing, and he can kill you with his legs, man? Come on, it's a no-brainer.
final throw on the pro day. He rolled left, looked for the receiver. I think he took 2 steps, threw a pass, a spiral, perfect spiral that sailed in the corner of the end zone. I'm talking about 65 yards. He threw 65 yards on a rollout pass, and it was perfect.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna tell you the truth. Since covering this team since 2017 with Blake Bortles, and I give Minshew some credit, but he doesn't have that. It's God gift talent, and none
Yeah.
of those guys that done took snaps from the behind the center got the
Mm.
of that type of talent. That's not coachable talent. That's born talent,
Yeah.
and you can probably put on your hands in the last 30 years in the NFL, and maybe on one hand of a quarterback who have that natural gift talent. You know, it ain't
Yeah.
many.
No, it's not many. And then to be able to come right in, step
Yeah,
in right away and start to contribute and play well, because I think he's going to come in. I don't think he's going to. I don't think he might not blow everything away. He may not be Justin Herbert to start out with, because Justin Herbert was just absolutely ridiculous to start out. But even if he's not that, I mean, eventually he's going to get there. It's only going to be a matter of time before he gets to the top of the quarterback mountain, because that's just where it seems like he's most comfortable. That seems like he's where he's going to be at. And I know, and people talk about bust potential and him being, he's it's too good to be true. That's what a lot of Jaguar fans, because we are used to misery, so we're going to talk ourselves out of most things. So, well, it's too good to be true. We're going to get this guy, and he's probably going to be a bust because he's just too perfect. He's too perfect of a prospect. But if you want to understand how perfect of a prospect he is, the only thing they can nitpick is what he said about his motivation. Is that not insane? I was
yeah,
reading that, and Louis Riddick, I'm like, Louis, what are you doing, man? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And then he had to come and clarify his comments. I said,
yeah.
understand that football is what this young man does. It's not who he is. He has a life outside of football. Judge him off his play and not off his feelings. You don't have to eat, sleep, and breathe football. Because I seen one of the comments on the thing. He said, what if he has a career-ending injury, God forbid, in his first game, and he's supposedly supposed to eat, sleep, and breathe football? He's supposed to die after that?
Yeah. And nothing wrong with him putting family first. Nothing wrong with him basically saying that I'm gonna have a life without, it's not gonna be 24 hours watching film. I mean, I go back to Eli Manning. The only reason why I go back to that because there's a difference between Eli Manning and his brother Peyton. And working in New Orleans, Eli did not sit on a Saturday like Peyton and watch film for 6 hours.
Right. Right. Let's see. Oh man, Mr. John, you froze up. Let's see. Cha said, we all know we're drafting with the number 1 pick, but who were they're drafting with number 25? It's interesting, Cha. I don't know exactly. But let's see. Hopefully we can get Mr. John back. Let's see. No, he's not back just yet. He may have to go out and come back in. But at 25, shoot, Kadarius Toney, man, Morig, the safety from TCU, Christian Barmore, defensive tackle from Alabama, Roll Tide, as you can see today. See, ETN maybe at 25. I wouldn't take a running back first round, but it is an option. Also, if Najee Harris is there, that's an option, but I don't want to take a running back at 25. But we do need speed. Speed is necessary. Speed is needed. Speed is something that's always been a part of Urban Meyer's teams. Regardless of where he's went, he's always brought speed. So regardless of who comes, I think we're going to get faster in the draft, period. we're going to get faster. And I wouldn't mind Kadarius Toney at 25 or 33. And then coming back, or you can get Fryermuth, the not Tennessee, but the tight end from Penn State, and get him at 33, or I think it's 46. Either way, I mean, I think we're going to be good at 25. We're going to have a nice little bit of players to choose from at 25. But yeah, speed. So speed in the backfield, speed at the wide receiver position. I mean, if they could get speed at the tight end position, even though Fryermuth he's not a speed tight end. He's a big body and he's got sure hands. So I'll take that all day. But speed, man, that's what you need at 25. Okay, hopefully we get Mr. John back. Let's see, he done went out. Hopefully he comes back in. But I'll wait for him to come back. And before we continue to talk Jaguars, go into some of my other topics and talk about Daniel Jones. And I seen where supposedly Daniel Jones' future, and seeing where there's pushback on him being the quarterback of the future in New York. And I got to be honest, I'm on that boat too. I'm not a Daniel Jones, I wouldn't say believer or whatever, but I don't see what other people see when they talk about Daniel Jones. I just don't see him being a franchise quarterback. I don't see him being that. But I've been proven wrong before, because I was wrong on Josh Allen. Man, super wrong on Josh Allen. So I mean, and most pundits were, but for Daniel Jones, I don't see it, man. I don't. I think he's going to hold New York back. And I think New York is headed in a great direction, but Daniel Jones, quarterback of the future, he's got a lot to prove coming up this year. I mean, it's getting to the point where it's pretty much do or die for him. And can he stay healthy? I don't think he's played more than 10 games since he's been in the league. So, but what's that, last year? Well, his rookie year, he had to split time with Eli Manning, but he's been injured. So I don't know about that. Also, Mac Jones supposedly going 3rd overall to the 49ers. And you see the shirt. Come on. It's Roll Tide over here. Mac Jones is not 3rd overall quarterback worthy. He's not. He's not. Now, the Patriots taking him at like maybe 15. I could see that, but I just don't see him going in the top 10. I don't think that that's something that should be done, man. And was watching a segment on something. They was talking about, like, with Mac Jones and his attributes, what quarterback has been taken that high who has his attributes and has, for from arm talent to builds, all of that. None. They compare him to Tom Brady. Tom Brady was taken in the 6th round, and he was taken there for a reason. He was passed over, going from round to round to round, and maybe he shouldn't have gone that low, but he went 6th round for a reason. Same with Mac Jones. Mac Jones should not go 3rd overall to San Francisco. Even though I do love him, I think the best place for him probably will be New England, because his style of play and what he did in Alabama, it was get the ball out of your hands to get into the hands of your playmakers, period. And that's the name of the game, and it is what it's going to be in the NFL. He broke the record for completion percentage at about 78%. I mean, what he threw, like 50-something touchdowns. I mean, the kid it was good. And he's a Jacksonville kid, so I want to see him succeed. But going 3rd overall to San Francisco, I don't see it. And then he doesn't fit the system in San Francisco, I mean, so it is what it is. Like Justin Fields seems to be the perfect prospect for Kyle Shanahan's offense. I mean, a quarterback who can move and who can throw. Oh yeah. I mean, that seems to be it. So, I mean, we'll see how it goes, but I think that it could be 4 quarterbacks going back to back at the top of the draft coming up next Thursday, and taking Mac Jones, one of those picks. I wouldn't do it. It's too many quarterbacks on the board at that point. You still got, even if Justin Fields goes 2 to the Jets, or Zach Wilson goes 2 to the Jets, you still got Trey Lance. So, not Feeling it. Let's see. Mr. Reid is gone. There he is. There you go.
Yeah, I had some technical difficulties.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Now I was talking about Daniel Jones and Mac Jones. Oh, crap. Look, he'll be back because he back up, so he'll be back. So, I will say too, because we were just talking Jags football, and I just Jag fans, don't do this to yourself. Don't try to talk yourselves out of Trevor Lawrence. Just sit back and let the guy work. All right. There we go. So I was talking about Daniel Jones and Mac Jones, and I seen where Greeny said that he doesn't think that Daniel Jones is quarterback of the future. How did you feel about the Daniel Jones pick, man? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, when they picked him, I was like, they should have took Josh Allen, defensive end, who Jacksonville took with that pick, because they could have got Josh Allen later with their second pick. But him being a quarterback of the future in New York, so far, I don't see that, man. I just don't. I don't.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they should have got Josh Allen, and the verdict is the jury is still out on Jones, but I haven't seen a lot over the last 2 years to make me feel that this kid is a can't. He's a Pro Bowl franchise caliber quarterback. I haven't seen that. He did have a good game against Tampa Bay his rookie year. That's about the.
I saw that game and I was like, okay, that's nice, but it was Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
hey, maybe the Giants should do something bold like the Jets. I thought the Jets did a bold move, man.
Oh, by trading away Darnold?
Yeah, I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I think that if you make a mistake, or if the piece doesn't fit, you in position to rectify the problem, then pull the trigger and get it done. I mean, don't sit there and still harping about his potential.
Yeah. Shoot, look at top organizations around the NFL and look at how they operate. I mean, they admit their mistakes and they move on fairly quickly. Shoot, the New England does it. We talked about that. Bill Belichick, yeah, this was a mistake. You got to go. Seahawks, they signed Percy Harvin to almost a $70 million deal, which I was against in the beginning anyway. I mean, you were talking about a wide receiver who's never had 1,000 yards. Yes, he's explosive. Yes, he's fast. But I wouldn't have paid Percy Harvin at that point that type of money. It was a mistake. They moved on very quickly. Pittsburgh, when something doesn't fit, they move on fairly quickly. Seems to be that way in Baltimore for the most part. I mean, you look at a successful franchise and you'll see a franchise that admits its mistakes and moves on very quickly.
You know what? I say this. I mean, we all right now we don't know what Urban Meyer is going to be as an NFL coach, but I can assure you that he's not going to be one who sit by passively and allow a player on his team, if he's not producing, to stick with him. I just feel that if everybody's going to be held accountable, including that offensive line, and they're not going to, I mean, he's not going to be like Doug Marrone and just, okay, even though you see a leak in the faucet, like, and it's just sprouting with water, and even if you try to plug it, it's still springing with water, and then you basically say to everyone in the country that we're doing the best we can. I just don't see that in Urban Meyer. I see that, hey, we're going to get this fixed, and if he's not producing, then we're going to sit him. We're going to try the next person, and if that next person, then we're going to make a trade. But I think this team is the players that you see now are going to be seeing it after this draft when that depth chart come out and when they start OTAs and go into training camp. I guarantee you that depth chart will be changing a whole lot between August and October.
Yeah. And it's dude, it's funny you say that because the previous regime was the Titanic. The
Yeah.
band was playing as the ship was going down, and they were trying to sell to us that they were doing their best. And they didn't try to sell that everything was okay, but that they were doing their best and doing it. No, you weren't. They were holding on. They held on too long to Todd Wash. They held on too long to Blake Bortles. They held on too long to Tom Coughlin. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if they had to cut Tom Coughlin out, they say after 2017 season, they said that the rumblings were around about him needing to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they just they stuck with it. And every decision they made to not move on fairly quickly has came back to bite them severely.
Mhm. And that's what you're gonna see. You're gonna see with Urban, you're gonna see a lot of competition, and you're gonna see if the guy not producing. I'm gonna mark my words. If the guy not producing, I'm talking about. I'll give you a specific at receiver. If a guy like DJ Chalk start the season off slow, don't expect that he's gonna start. I
Right.
mean, he's a good player. He's a young player. But if he gets out to a slow start or drop passes and things like that, he's not going to be in that starting lineup. He can pout. He can do whatever he wants. But he won't be starting on Urban Meyer's team. And that's the way accountability is going to be. I tell you another one. Joe Schobert, the blind middle linebacker. If
Mm-hmm.
Joe Schobert can't get and make plays like at the line of scrimmage and make plays 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage, he won't be on the field. Taven Bryant, one of the players, critics can be harsh, but when you give a critic an ammunition to criticize you, then there's no other problem but your own. And if you can't be instinctive, and if you can't get off blocks and you only got one rush move, and what he's been there since 218, and the
Mm-hmm.
only thing, and he's still bull rushing, not using his hands, not doing swivel moves, not getting around block, he ain't gonna be around. My prediction is this: if Taven Bryant doesn't improve if he doesn't make significant improvement from what he showed last season, he won't be on that roster.
Right. Yeah, he won't. He won't. Shoot. Trey Herndon. Trey Herndon continue to be barbecue chicken and get burnt. He won't be on the field. Chris Herndon doesn't. Not Chris Herndon, but
Henderson.
Chris Henderson. Henderson.
Mhm.
If Henderson doesn't get it together, because he started out fairly well, but then that play dipped. Those last couple of games before he got hurt.
Yep.
Same with him. Same with like you say, Schobert. I think Miles Jack is a beast, man. So no matter where they put Miles,
Yeah, you won't have a problem.
you won't. I don't think you won't have an issue with Miles, man. Jared Wilson. I don't think you're gonna have much of an issue with Jared Wilson. Jared is not a. He's not a. He doesn't turn the ball over like a elite safety does, but he's a solid player. I mean, from when the times that they've gotten beat, I could look at the corners and other safeties. It's rare that I've seen where Jared Wilson is just getting beat. He's one of the few in the secondary that I saw that he didn't get beat all that often. Oh man, I think we lost him again. Ah crap. Yeah, we lost him again. Yeah, technical difficulties, people. Technical difficulties. It is what it is. Oh, there we go. There we
Boy,
go.
bad night for my internet tonight, man. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, but we gonna keep it going. But I was saying about Jared Wilson.
Mhm.
It's rare that I've seen him where I could point out and specifically point to him getting beat over and over and over again.
Mhm. But Brandon, I'm gonna tell you this about Trayvon Moray, that kid from TCU that they might draft
Oh,
at 25th. Jared Wilson has experience. I thought he's played okay the last 2 years, but they're gonna have more competition at that safety spot.
yeah,
It won't be Andrew Wingard out there. It's gonna be a lot more competition. And that kid from TCU who he can hit, he can read, and he's got speed to cover. there's going to be a lot more competition back there in that secondary. So,
Yeah.
which is a
Yeah.
good thing. You know, a lot of people like, man, you know, in order to be a winning football team, man, you got to have that 2 deep depth chart. The guy under the starter got to be good enough that from week to week he might can move that starter out if he's that good enough. And that's the way they got to upgrade their talent across the board, because the more talent, it benefits everyone. You know, it ain't
Yeah.
such thing as favorites and all that kind of stuff. But at wide receiver, in that entire secondary, to right now, what you said about C.J. Henderson doesn't have a locked starting spot. You know,
Yeah.
even as a first round pick a year ago, his spot is not locked. You know, all we know, he might be might have to play inside. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So and it's funny that you do say that, because competition is what is going to form the team. Because I coach for Terry Parker, and we had our team shirts, iron sharpens iron. So I mean, you have to have that. And the more game goes along, you find out which team is deeper.
Yeah.
You find out how talented the depth chart is. The longer the game goes. Because everybody can come out in the first quarter guns ablaze, but what's down your depth chart? Who are you bringing in and your substitutions? Is there drop off? Like when I was at Parker, we had our starting 22 on offense and defense. They were really, really good, but we had nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing behind them. And all it took was for teams to get us into the mid third, into the fourth, and it was a wrap.
Mm-hmm. That's what it's all about, man. And I think you're going to see. I think it's going to be an interesting training camp. I think if they go to OTAs and have on-field work, it's going to be interesting. And I think in order to Urban Meyer and his assistants to build and change the culture, then things have to be done differently. I like to see them having a wide open passing attack. I don't know why, but I wish that I hope that's what I hope that's what they show. I want to see a wide open passing attack. I want to see a good offensive line. I want to see James Robinson. I think he had a great season as a rookie, but he got a lot to prove this year. You know, I like to see competition at the running back. I like to see competition at wide receiver. I like to see an offensive line that produce and not based on, hey, he's been here 5 years, or he's a second round pick, or I want to see it based on the guy getting the job done. If they do that, then they win. If not, then it's gonna be a long season again. But I have faith in Urban Meyer. I don't think they've had a coach like him in Jacksonville. He might. A lot of people say he's a young Tom Coughlin. Well, if so, let it be. But I think he's more of a people person.
I think he's closer to Pete Carroll than he'd be to Tom Coughlin. He doesn't give me the Tom Coughlin feel, man. He's too much of a player's coach already to turn into a disciplinarian on the next level. I just don't see that happening. If that's not already in him now, you can't manufacture that. I know Romeo Crennel talked about it, and he was saying how he doesn't have that fire that fire to just get angry and want to curse players out and just be mad. He just didn't have that in him because he was laid back. So if it's not in him now, it's not going to be in him once he gets to the league.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's a reason why a guy can be successful. And if you can be successful on any level, you're not going to change from what made you successful. Obviously he loves speed. Every time he's spoken to the media, the same conversation has been about speed, speed, speed. We need more speed. What are you going to do with that 25th pick? We need speed. Speed. The more speed, the better. Speed wins. He's telling us, he's giving us the signal that don't be shocked if they go out there and receive him at 25th. To me, that's what he's saying.
Right.
If I can get Kadarius Toney or somebody with speed we don't have enough speed on either side of the ball. And I think you're going to see that draft reflective of speed. You know, as long as they don't forget that they need some more, depth at the offensive line, that's good. But
Mm-hmm.
they got to have speed on the field, man. You
Gotcha.
look at
Yeah,
all
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. So I got you because your video's cutting up. So I just got your video off, and I can hear you fine still because your video's still a little wonky. So but we're gonna finish it up with see, okay, man, we 50 minutes in already. So see, we're gonna finish it up talking about this with a little bit of NBA and injuries that we got going on around the league. From James Harden and his hamstring injury, Kawhi Leonard with a split injury, um, LeBron James supposedly coming back soon. Anthony Davis I think he's been cleared for on court activities. LaMelo Ball is coming back, man. Have you watched LaMelo Ball, man? Look, that I think LaMelo is probably because I love Zion Williamson. You know, I'm a LeBron guy, but I love Zion. But man, LaMelo Ball is making his way into my top favorite players to watch. Man, that kid is special.
man, I had a conversation with Philip Henry. You know Philip, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Philip said, "Man, you know the difference between the balls is the Charlotte ball can distribute. I mean, Charlotte has never had a point guard who can distribute. They always had guards who shoot. This guy distributes the ball. They move. I mean, they got an offense. When he's in the game, the ball always moves. They never had that. And he's a
Yeah.
two-point guard, man. It ain't a outlaw of shooting the three and all that kind of stuff. He gets the ball and the ball moves. It never sticks. And
Yeah.
you know, maybe that's the difference between the brothers.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Lonzo is he's a great facilitator as well. But Melo, that part of his game is something that I did not realize that he had because even when he was younger, I looking at him, I was like, man, that kid might probably going to be the best ball brother. And as he aged and started to
Yeah,
mature, I saw it. You know, during the draft process, my buddy of mine at work, he's a Charlotte fan, and he was saying he's like, "Hey B, man, they saying this kid can't shoot." Other coworkers like, "Yeah, man, that kid can't shoot. He shot 25% from the field in Russia or something like that." And he might not be worth the third overall pick or blah blah blah. Saying all of this, and I'm like, and I told my coworker, I said, "Listen, I've seen this kid. I watched film on him, seen him a few times, and I said, this kid is legit. LaMelo Ball will be the best ball brother. The kid will be great." And he exceeded my expectations, Mr. Reed. Like I would after his first couple of games, I came back to my coworker. I said, listen, I said, I told you he was going to be good, but this kid is probably going to be a superstar. Like I think he's going to be able to have Kevin Durant level status and talent, man. And that is mighty high praise. And that might come back to bite me. But from what I see right now, LaMelo Ball is on that track.
and you know what? When you watch good point guard like the Chris Pauls and guards like that, Lamelo, they always have the floor space. You don't ever see like they're all bubbled up in the lane. Nobody's moving the ball, sticking. When you got a great point guard, the the floor is always space. You can always get driving lanes to the basket. You always
Yep.
can find a shooter on the wing who's open for the three. And when you watch Charlotte and you watch the Suns, that's what you see. I mean, it's just like having a franchise quarterback. You got to have a point guard who knows what he's doing. If not, you ain't gonna win in that league.
Nope. No, you're not. You got to at least have a guy who can know how to facilitate. Like
Yes.
when Rondo came back for the Lakers and he came back in the playoffs, Rondo, he's a huge reason why the LA Lakers were the champions last year. Him and Dwight Howard played significant roles in
Yeah.
them getting to becoming champions because Rondo led the playoffs in assists, and didn't he miss the first round? I think he missed the first round, and so other players had 4 whole games on him, plus, and he still led the playoffs in assists. I mean,
Yeah.
so that right there tells you all you need to know. But this James Harden injury, man. I will say that these first 2 rounds, I don't think it's really going to matter for Brooklyn because, I think you can get through these first 2 rounds as long as 2 people are somewhat healthy. But, man, once you get to the 3rd round and you get to the finals, if all 3 are not healthy for the Nets, they're not winning a thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, you got to get your 3 guys. I heard Shaq the other night, oh, yeah, they can just come back in the 2nd round and playoff and everything just don't snap into place. That is not going to happen, man.
Nope.
They got to get those guys. What they got, like, how many more games left in the season? About 13, somewhere around there, 13, 14. I mean, they got to get these guys back now. If not, they can start thinking about next season. And KD really hasn't played the season, to be honest. I mean, he's been out like the whole year.
Yeah. Now he's dealing with a thigh contusion, so he's day-to-day. James Harden is shut down indefinitely, so he's not going to play the rest of the regular season. Yeah, Kyrie Irving has been hooping out of his mind, but just without all 3, man, you can't. You're not winning anything, man. You're not, because even with LeBron and AD missing time, they already have chemistry with each other. All they got to do is get back into basketball playing shape, and they'll be ready to go.
Yeah, there's such a thing as having a lot of more talent than you need. I think the Lakers got more talent than they need.
Schroeder. I didn't know Schroeder. I didn't think Schroeder was going to be as good as he's been. I mean, I know about Montrez. Now that you got Andre Drummond, man, it's it's almost an embarrassment of riches, man.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. You can always lure a player to LA.
Yeah.
Hard to recruit.
Yeah. LeBron is the best recruiter in NBA history, which is hilarious to me, but it is what it is, because it's funny you hear about guys supposedly not wanting to play with LeBron. Don't believe that hype. I never believed that.
Not when a ring is at stake.
Yeah. Who doesn't want to win a championship? Come on now.
Man, he distributed the ball. I mean, there's a lot of things said about LeBron, but LeBron will give the ball up, man. I mean, you open, you give up the ball. He loves to win. We all know that, but he's a great facilitator. And, I thought when AD went to the Lakers, and I didn't know how that was going to work out. I thought that AD had to get his touches, and, obviously LeBron going to get his touches. But, AD, when he was in New Orleans, he just hated playing center. AD in LA, he don't complain about playing center when he has to. So chemistry matters, talent matters, and when talent can blend, when you can blend talent together, and guys sacrifice their talent, and you don't see any drop off. You don't see a drop off. AD probably averaged about almost 30 points a game in New Orleans. You don't have to average 30 points a game in LA and win.
Right. And it's funny. It's funny you bring that up about him not wanting to play center in New Orleans, and then now with the LA Lakers, Anthony Davis has no issue playing center. It's just like, and I love him to death. And this is a no Jalen Ramsey slander zone here. We don't slander Jalen Ramsey here, but it's amazing that back healed up very, very quickly for his debut with the Rams. You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, it healed very quick. I never forget when Jalen got out his own money truck. Man, the man had his own money truck. He had his own place. Coming to training camp on the first day, I said to myself, I knew this ain't gonna be a regular season.
Hey, when he jumped out that money truck with Ha Davis, one of my favorite internet comedians, and he came out there with that megaphone and him talking about his coverage is so good, he gonna start his own cell phone service. I said, oh my God, Jalen, Tom Coughlin is not happy right now. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I remember that season. Where the money. The money man.
Where the money at? Where is the money at, man?
The money,
But man, oh man, see, now we're an hour in. Okay, well, I think we can wrap it up here, Mr. Reid. I think we covered pretty much everything we want to talk about. Talk about the Chauvin verdict. Talked about Brett Favre craziness, Jags football, Daniel Jones, Mac Jones. Talked a little NBA. I think we covered all our bases here.
Yep.
Well, hey, so hopefully for our next show we gonna get those technical difficulties worked out. Hey, sometimes that show business though. Sometimes the show must go on. And for all y'all, I got some people who tuned in now, but yeah, his camera's not acting right. So, but hey, it is what it is, man. The show must go on, man. You still gotta press on, man. You still gotta press on.
Man, what is that? You got an Alabama shirt on?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, you see it. Oh yeah.
I thought that was Alabama there. Huh? You like the Christmas?
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm an Alabama guy, man. I love Alabama. Well, which I would say I'm a Nick Saban guy. Because once Nick Saban got there, because I followed Nick just about everywhere he went, because I feel like Nick is the college version of Bill Belichick, you know. Yeah. So I mean, that's a great coach, man.
You think they're gonna win it all next year too, man?
Bryce Young, I got to see Bryce Young, the new quarterback. I got to see him. I saw him in the spring game. And he looks good, but I got to see him live action, man, because Mac Jones was a veteran, and he had veteran receivers. You had a veteran line. You had a veteran running back. You had very good defensive players. So, I mean, you got to replace a lot of guys now. So I would say that they have a successful season, but a winning season, but I don't think they win the national title again next year. I don't see them going undefeated, and I see them probably just missing the playoff. And this is all depending on Bryce Young. Now, Bryce Young comes out like gangbusters and he tears it up. You're looking at another championship, at least another championship run in the next 2 to 3 years. But if he's just okay, we might struggle.
Yeah. Well, one of the Jaguars players who told me he went to Alabama said, man, their team is actually 2 years ahead of any other team.
I believe it.
Yep.
I believe it.
They got guys in the backup waiting to start. And that backup behind this guy this year be starting after he leaves, man. Whatever they doing is different.
Oh yeah. Oh, ain't that something? Now your camera's back. That is hilarious to me. Oh my goodness. That's hilarious to me. But
time to go.
It's time to go, man. It's time to go, man. It's time to go. But it is what it is, man. But man, I appreciate you for joining me again, man. So
love talking.
Yeah, man. Hopefully we can do this again sometime next week. Because matter of fact, we got the draft coming up, so we definitely gonna do this again next week, man. We're gonna talk some draft, especially probably after maybe the first round, and do some assessments and whatnot, and we'll see from there. But we'll definitely be back next week with this.
Yes, sir. Trevor Town, get ready.
Yes, Trevor Town, Trevor Lawrence. Get ready, people. Get ready. I'm so excited about that.
Franchise quarterback in Jacksonville. That sounds good, doesn't it, man? Franchise quarterback.
Oh yeah. And hey, make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. You see all my stuff down here at the bottom. All my information, all my social media. Man, check me out on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all those good things. Make sure you follow Mr. Reid. What's your handle on Twitter?
John Reid 64.
John Reid 64. So follow him on Twitter, and you get your updates. Get Jaguar updates. Maybe he covers the Jaguars, so the Florida Times-Picayune for those who might not know, who don't know. So hey, get all your Jaguar updates there. But until next time, man, we're gonna sign out, man. We're gonna see y'all later, man. Peace out.
Peace out. Take care.